Welcome to IELTS 4 Skills course, and in today's video I will answer the question that many international students frequently ask, how your accent and if your accent affects your IELTS speaking section scores. So to begin with, what is an accent? Accent is a unique way to produce sounds when you speak a different language that is affected by your native language. So how heavy your accent is depends on multiple factors. So the first factor is your native language, of course, and the differences between your native language and the English language in terms of sound production. The second one is when you started learning English. So those students who onset their English language learning early on, so at the age of 7 or 8, may have a native-like pronunciation or accent, and those people who have started learning English later on as adults may have difficulties acquiring accents, and so the influence of their native language on how they speak in English would be much heavier. Third one is how much speaking you engage in when you learn the language, because many students focus a lot on reading and listening and engage less in speaking, and therefore when we have to talk, we may feel uncomfortable producing sounds. And finally, it's the way your brain works. There are people who have perfect pitch, and so for whom imitating sounds in a different language is not that difficult, and there are people for whom actually imitating sounds is very difficult. And given your accent, will that affect your IELTS score? So in short, your accent will impact your score to the extent it will affect your examiner's comprehension of your response. So now, to understand how it will affect the score, it's important to understand how the speaking section is actually assessed. So in general, the speaking section is assessed on 4 criteria. The first one is fluency and coherence. The second one is lexical resource, and the third one is grammatical range and accuracy, and finally pronunciation. So accent would fall under pronunciation. So your examiner, as he or she listens to your speech, will assign a band score in each of these criteria, and then your overall result would be an average of these 4. Depending on the score that you need to get on the speaking section, it's important to understand what is that minimum that you need to get in each of the criteria in order to get that score. And for that purpose, there is the speaking section band descriptors that is available online. You can download it, print it out, and so you can read through the pronunciation features that you are supposed to demonstrate at each of the band scores and what makes them different. So in band 6, for example, when you read the descriptors, you will see that you are supposed to be quite familiar with the pronunciation features, and you should feel comfortable pronouncing most of the words, putting the right stress, parsing words into meaningful word groups, using the right intonation. You are allowed to make occasional slips in pronunciation. You may occasionally mispronounce certain words, but in general you should feel quite comfortable and your speech should be understandable, even if you speak with an accent, as I do, for example, but you still understand me, right? So then there is no descriptors for band 7. So to get band 7, for example, you need to demonstrate all the features of band 6 and at least a couple of features or one feature from band 8. So in band 8, as you will read through, one of the features is that your accent or L1 does not affect the intelligibility of your response. It means that your examiner actually understands what you say and how you say it. So in that case, you can be assigned band 7. So therefore, when you prepare for the IELTS exam, what is important to do is to actually have a trained specialist assess you in each of the criteria, including the pronunciation, and provide you with feedback what is the preliminary scores that you may get in the pronunciation criteria, and what aspects you need to focus on and what aspects you need to improve. In general, there are certain features that you can work on. For example, perhaps you systematically mispronounce certain words, and obviously we can isolate these words and you can learn how to pronounce them. You may use incorrect intonation when you ask a question, so that could be trained as well. Learning how to parse words into meaningful groups is something that could be trained as well, but may take longer. So all of these features are important to identify, and depending on your accent and the problems in your pronunciation, you can decide what's the preparation strategy in this case would be. So I hope this was helpful, and please let me know if you have any questions.